Well, Voorhis, I'm a member of the Mason Kiwanis Club. I've been a member since 1956 when the club started, so I am really the only remaining charter member of the club. I've lived in Mason all my life. I've gone to school here, and I've gone away to college, been away. I was in the Navy at the end of World War II. A man named Ed Brownsville, who was from Lebanon, was a member of the Lebanon Club. He made concrete block. I knew him because he called on me. I was an architect. Ed was a great salesman and just one of the guys you like. His partner probably thought he ought to be doing something different, but Ed would come to town and go see everybody and says, "Hey, you got to be a member of this. This is going to be really great." And it has been great over the years. We had maybe 35 people at this first meeting, which was very good. We started in the Mason Grange Hall. The Grange ladies made our lunch for us for a third of the year. And then we'd go to the Methodist church and they'd cook for us. And then we'd go to the Presbyterian church and we'd go to the Catholic church. First meeting, as I said, was at the Grange Hall, which is in the center of town. And the Grange is a agricultural society. They had 100 members probably. But the city was about 700 or 800 people at that time. Really, we just kind of started. We had a president, Bill Alfrank, who was an insurance man, and we had a secretary. It might have been John Zoff, who was an attorney. And he always told us about the University of Cincinnati basketball team. That was in the days of Oscar Robertson. And John was a great storyteller, and he was just a good guy to have for the secretary. He really was instrumental also in getting us going. We always had a lot of good storytellers in the club that get up and tell about their favorite baseball team or all of these things that were happening. And all these men knew each other well because there weren't very many of us around. And we were all very interested in high school sports. The first meeting went very well. Like our president was an insurance guy and Bill was a great talker and he could run a meeting and we had a lot of people like him in there. It's interesting, I can't remember what it cost. It couldn't have cost more than $2 or something like that to go to that meeting. And so the food was just excellent, always was. That was a big part to keeping us going, I think. Okay, we'd all get there and we'd open with Pledge of Allegiance and singing America, and then we'd have a prayer before lunch. Then we'd eat for half an hour or so, and then we had a program. And that program was often it could be a school, one of the kids, or their coach telling about them. We had many interesting meetings. Some of them could be musical. We have a lot involving service personnel, police personnel, some of those people. A lot of the kids come and have lunch with us, and they like that, and we like having them because the kids are fun to see. So we have a student of the month. They always like to come because they get out of school for a while, have a different meal than they had at school. We have a lot of interesting people, whether it's the termite man or the guy selling chickens or whatever they're doing. But we're kind of into a bigger city now. There's about 30,000 people live in Mason now, where when we started it was a 700 or 800 people who lived here. We had good meetings, and I think that helped keep people coming. Our club size, we started with 35, as I said, and we have good attendance. Then it built over the years. It really got up to about 100 just a few years ago, but then the recession kind of knocked it. Good average attendance would be 45 people a week. We've had a lot of things that have really worked well for us. Everybody was supposed to have some money makers. Well, we had a pancake day. I think that was something everybody could figure out. It wasn't too technical. We had a regular Aunt Jemima who was Francie Girton, who was a very popular guy. He was probably the mayor, and he was the perfect Aunt Jemima. We don't do that anymore now. I don't know, Aunt Jemima maybe even sends a woman out at one time. There was kind of an evolution of who the cook was. Probably everybody was supposed to sell tickets, and I doubt the tickets were more than $1. I expect they were $1. And my memory is we made $200. And I don't know how we did that and what we did with it exactly. But that was a start, and really I think we've had pancake days up to this day. Today, though, we have 1,500 or 1,600 people, and we do a lot more things, and it's really, we make $15,000 now. But that's selling a lot of raffle things and doing all the things that organizations do. So that's been successful, and everybody kind of likes it. And we have an electrician, and he hooks up the ranges, and the restaurants give us pancake stuff. So it's a lot of donated things, but it's something that's a lot of fun. People really like it. It's a big thing for Mason because you go and see a lot of people you haven't seen all year, and so it has continued to this day. Well, that would have been 1957 probably, as we started in the spring of '56, and typically pancake days are in the spring, and so that's about when that was. Well, another early project was our barbecue chicken. Bob Miller, who ran the programs and was the announcer for WLW on Everybody's Farm, he says, let's barbecue some chickens. So we built a concrete block, and so everybody worked. WLW had an ear of corn with a microphone in it. They talked about anything. Earl Neal was the farmer, and they'd come to the farm and they'd talk to Earl about how many cows he was milking that day, and how the chickens were doing, what his wife was doing. And it was a very popular program. It was at noon. We got a lot of advertising because people came. It was close to Cincinnati, and they could drive out and see a farm and bring their kids. And everybody wanted to see the Neal's house where they lived. And it was just an ordinary old brick building there and so forth. The farm I lived on growing up bordered this farm on the back, although it was probably a half a mile. That was really quite successful. We'd have 400 people at that, which must have made $300 or $400, which was okay. That was a project. Golf outing, which we have every May, is the big money maker for us. We get a lot of donations from people on that. And this was when Jack Nicklaus Golf Course was new. And it was very popular, and there weren't near as many golf courses as there are now. And we had that every spring. We still have that, and we make $25,000 probably. A lot of that is contributions that we get from people. So that money is used for high school scholarships. We award scholarships to anyone who lives in the Mason school districts eligible, and maybe even some more. And that's probably our most successful thing now, and really what we do the most good with, because we give 8 to 10 scholarships every year. So they're substantial scholarships, and they're for 4 years. But we're kind of into a bigger city now. There's about 30,000 people live in Mason now, where when we started it was 700 or 800 people who lived here. And we always had somebody to get up and kind of get things loosened up. And Art was the Baptist minister. He'd talk to God every week. He'd get his phone out. This was still an old phone. So he'd get the phone out and, yeah, how things going? Yeah, this is Art, and you know, we're doing fine, but we got some guys we don't know about around here, and how the council's doing. Why'd they do that? And Art could pull all this off. He was just a great guy. He had the Baptist church here, which was the booming church at that time. I don't know whether all his members thought he was that humorous or not, but we certainly enjoyed it. Art did that for at least a year, maybe a couple of years. And I don't know how he exactly got that job. Some guys just have talent, and everybody liked to listen to him. We had Ray Wilt, who started the golf series, and Ray again was a sales guy, and he was typical, and he was like Art. He could entertain you for many hours. I think I'd go to jail if I'd tell all Art's stories. Well, I did miss one really important thing, and that's when we started having women in the club, because without the women, we wouldn't be in existence today. They're really a very big part of our club. Now, that was kind of amusing at the first, because there were some guys in the club, not very many, but a couple were pretty interesting. They didn't want any women in this club. And so they're not in the club anymore. And the women, they really do a great job in the club. They really do keep it going, and they're harder workers. It would be difficult to have it go without the women now. But that was one of the big changes that we've seen over the years. The club is always centered around a lot of children, and they have children. And the women really, they're good attenders, and they do a lot of things. They have a lot of good ideas, and so that's where they contribute just a great deal. But there were a couple of guys in the club says, hey, we're going to sell some peanuts. So they got bags and bags of peanuts, and then of course everybody's having fun, giving them a hard time. And I don't know how they finally got rid of all their peanuts, but we did get them done. We haven't had a lot of fundraising things, those big projects. We've had a lot of just contributors to our club. Well, some of the other projects we had that have been very successful is we take some boys and we took girls from the local juvenile detention. We take them to the ball game every year. And a lot of these kids have never been to a Major League Baseball game, and so it's a big deal for them. Take them out the innings and buy them popcorn and all that stuff. Well, these three guys went in one door of the restroom, I guess out the other door. Nobody saw them for 3 days, you know. So we really had fun kidding those guys about losing their parolees. I've been a member for all these years, so I obviously must like it. And I do like it, a couple hours a week. And I think I have some good friends there that have known and wouldn't have known otherwise. I think the Kiwanis has accomplished a lot in the schools and the town, and our Pancake Day is a big social event, which is a lot of fun. The golf outing is, again, a great social event, but we also make quite a bit of money for many of our projects. And I guess it's getting to know the personalities of all these people that you get to know them very well. When they hop up every once in a while and tell you a funny story, that's neat to get to know them that way. And I think it's that. And you get to know a lot of the teachers and the kids too, because we see a lot of the teachers, they normally come with a child, and so you get to know the teachers, and it's you know them as long as you have kids in school, but that runs out, and then you need to make some of these other connections. And as I told you about going to the ball game with the boys from juvenile detention, that's interesting because those kids are really kind of great kids. And then you have some when they walk off, well, that's fun to tell the guys who were supposed to keep track of them, what are you doing anyway? And of course the women, you meet a lot of new women there, and they're very active, and they give you another perspective on it. So it's a good organization. We've accomplished a lot of good things. So that's the reason I'd say you should join.